Hello from me, Lazarus. Welcome to the next series of tutorials on Introduction to Lazarus IDE. As you know, we are working on my third book, Introducing Lazarus IDE Part the Third. These are the 3 books in this series. The first, 2023, is Introducing Lazarus IDE. The next is part the second, 2025, and this year, 2026, I managed to release part the third. And as you know, just as a reminder, part 3, comes in 2 versions, basic version and the full version, which contains the basic one plus the real programming system minus. My shop. You can see it right here. So, we've reached this point. Currently, we are examining Chapter 1, Visual Tables in Lazarus IDE. We have already covered the first 5 points of it and reached the conclusion. When to choose which grid? Let's open the PDF file and take a look. So, in a more complex programming system, such as ours, which we examine in the book, usually more than one type of grid is used. Master's approach, knowing the strengths of each grid and combining them in the best possible way. Here is a brief overview, when to use each type. Straw grid, visualization, is used less frequently. In reality, we can use it, for example, if we have a shift schedule module, a restaurant table map, or hotel room statuses. Crucial detail, in these cases minus the cell contains a color or an image instead of text. This is the lightest component. It doesn't consume memory for strings and has maximum speed when repainting the screen. But specifically in our example, in our programming system minus we won't use it. String grid, manual control, is used in most places. Effectively, this is the base, the primary module used almost everywhere. It can be used for modules like sales, transfers, deliveries, audits, and so on. Here, we have full control over the input, because things are volatile in reality. A buyer might cancel an item, change quantities, ask for a discount, return something later, and so forth. All of this happens in the computer's memory without taxing the database. Only at the end, when we press the Enter button, do we record the transaction, and the quantities in the database are then updated. Its advantage is the ease of adding calculated columns and performing data validation before saving. Essentially, we have flexibility, which is excellent. And the last grid is grid, fast preview. It's used in nomenclatures, item lists, buyers, suppliers, and reports. The goal here is to show the necessary amount of data from the database, filtering and sorting them so they are convenient for us. In grid, this happens automatically and instantly without writing code. We have a direct connection with Navigator to add or edit master data, for example, changing an item's name. In our programming system, we will use a combination of string grid for main documents and grid for nomenclature lists and for reports. StrawGrid as a specialized tool, as I already said minus for specific visual tasks, will not find application in our case. That is all for the first chapter and this lesson. Best regards.